Okay, so I'm recording now. Okay. But where should I record? On my system? I'm recording on my system. It's recorded on the system, so that get it. Okay. To those backend information will be easy because you have some cameras. Okay, so I'm recording. Okay, let's move on. So the next we'll be looking at is called a field. Okay, so someone asked a question. What's the question? Okay, so let's do the same thing. So now let's say we have, I'm going to duplicate this table. So control. So now I want to find the product. So someone just asked, hello, are we together? So someone asked if we want to multiply that range of numbers, how do we go about it? So it's the same way, equal to product, then open bracket, select your range of numbers, and then you close your bracket, and you have your multiplication. And to multiply everything. There's nothing like that. So the reason why some actually has a lot of other functions is because that's one of the most used functions when it comes to Excel. Yes, that's why it has all of these shortcuts and different approach to it. Yeah. Did it work? It's plenty. So I should come again. All right. So please let's be following because we don't have so much time so that we can achieve a lot. So I don't have to be redoing it. So I said equal to for multiplication, equal to, and then we have product, open brackets. I select my range of numbers, which is J4 to J7, and then close bracket and enter. That's for product multiplication. Did you get it? Sorry? So that's so that's for product. So let's move on so we can achieve a lot. We actually have a lot to cover. So next we'll be looking at field. So basically what the field does is it allows you to transfer. What did we do last week now? Flash field, did we? Yes, field. How to generate no field, how to generate sequential numbers. Yeah, we did that last week. Okay, so that what we'll be doing also, but this time we'll be using it for formulas. This is what they have here. Okay, can you see my screen? So we can see, can we see the screen? So we can see that the way they got 100 was by adding 50 and 50 together, right? So 50 plus 50 gives us 100. So instead of having to repeat the same thing, thank you. So instead of having to do the same thing all over again, like to keep adding them together, what you can use is called you can use this handle called a fill handle. By dragging it down, you're able to transfer the formulas. We did this last week, right? Yeah. So please let's quickly give it a try. So all you just need to do is to take your cursor to the fill handle. Once it changes to a crosshair, so like a box at the edge of the cell, the active cell. So you hold it down. So you hold it down and then you drag. issue. This plus this. Don't worry. Let me help you out. So is it better now? Oh, okay. Thank you. So is this fine? So please just give it a try. So those online, is there any questions so far? Those online, any questions so far? Are we following? I hope I'm not so fast. Please, if I'm too fast, just let me know so I can go back and basically recap.
Okay, sir.
So can we see? We all get it. I want to move on. I should come again. Okay, so let me just do it again. Is that fine? What I did was, so now the formula we have in E4. Can we see the formula we have in E4? What's the formula there? Equal to sum to D4. Is that fine? What's our C4? What's the value in C4? What's the value in D4? So 50 plus 50 will give us what? So now what we want to do is to formula so it applies to the other cells, which means E4 will now be equal to C4 plus D4. Then E5 will be equal to, so E6 will be equal to E6 plus D6, right? Then E7 will be equal to C7 plus, exactly. So that's what we're trying to achieve. So using the field, achieve that by taking our cursor to the edge. Once it changes to a crosshair, we left click and then we drag it down. So once we left click and drag it down, then we release and we have our flash fill. So that is one way to achieve it. Another way you can highlight everything. So once you highlight everything, then you hold down Control and D. So using Control D, that's the shortcut for the fill. So we shouldn't spend. I already did this last week. Sorry. Should we move on? So for the control D, highlight everything. Click highlight from G4 to G7 and then use control D. So Samsung, please, you can just drop your question in the chat if you have a question. I can see your hand up.
Yes, Jonah, come.
So we're moving on to split.
Where Lado? You come over. You come
So
over.
let's move on to split.
Ah.
We're going to be looking at how you can separate information within a cell. So let's
I
say you
don't put
have
that card. You gotta give result. I need you.
and let's say you collect a group of or you collect data, a
Let me
data
go.
set, and then you have maybe the first name
One
and the
cup.
surname in a cell separated such that the first name in one column and then the surname is in a different column. You can easily do that using splits. And one way to achieve this is we'll be using column. We're going to be using text to column to separate first name, last name. So can we see the email address on the screen? Can we see it? So now we want to get the first name and last name. So to do it, what we'll do is, please just follow me step by step. Are we together? People are still looking at the screen. They'll call me
Who
back.
that mango? Who
Waiting
that
for them.
mango? Where now? Where now? Oh, that black one.
Once I
Just put
finish,
that
I
mango.
won't go back.
Just put that mango.
Are we together now? All right. So what I'll do is using text to column, we're able to separate the first name and then the last. So what I'll do first is I'll copy this information first. So where I want the first name to appear, I'm going to paste it there. Watch me, just follow me step by step. I'll explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. Then after that, I'll be going to my data. It's still selected. Do we notice that all the cells are still selected? That is D5 to D9. Still selected. Is that fine? So now I click on data, and then under data, where I have data tools, you see text to column. See it? Can we see it? Let's check. Under data tab, under your data tab, look for text to column. You see it under the data. Have you seen it? All right. So once you click on it, the first part is going to be asking you choose the file type. Make sure that it is delimited that is selected. So once delimited is selected, you click on next. So what delimited means basically is a separator. So a delimiter is anything that separates two words together. That's what a delimiter is. So it could be a full stop, it could be a comma, it could be what else again? Space, it could be what else? Tab, what else? What else could be a delimiter? Anything that separates two words together. So in this case, you can see that we have some delimiter. So this dot is a delimiter, at is a delimiter, right? And then this dot also is a delimiter. Is that fine? So those are basically called delimiter. If you have any question, let me just ask me and I'll respond. The first step.
Sir,
Okay, so let me start again.
better start again now.
So now we want to separate the first name and the last name. And this is the email address we have. I said the first thing is where you want your first name to appear, you copy the data or the information to that column. So I want my first name to appear in the D column so that when I separate it, I will have just Nancy, Andy, John, Maria, what's it? Yvonne. And I have Yvonne as first name, and then last name I'll now have Smith, North, Kotosa, or Kotas, rather, Jones, and McCabe. Does that make sense? So that's what we're trying to achieve. So what I did first was copy this email address, the column where I have my first name, the header, first name. So after copying, I ensure that it was still. So why it is still highlighted, okay, let me just highlight it now. So I've highlighted it. So I've highlighted D5 to D9. Is that fine? First, I copied and I pasted in the first name. The second is I highlighted from D5 to D9. Good. So after that, I went to the data tab. On that data tab, I clicked on text to column. And then after that, I clicked on next. So the question here is the delimiters. So what are delimiter? What's that delimiter? What is separating them? Full stop. Thank you very much. So I'll click on others and then I'll put a full stop. Did you notice what happened? Are we watching? Did you notice what happened in this box? After do you see how the columns appear? So after that, then I'll click on next and finish. Okay. So it's separated. Let's give it a try. And then you can delete this com. We don't need. You can delete the com here to the right. So now we have our Nancy. So we have our first name and then we have our last name. I want to remove the at Contosa or Contoso and the other ones. We can do the same thing, repeat the same process. Select it, flash fill, next, and this time our delimiter will be what? What would our delimiter be? At, thank you, at. And then we do finish. And then we can select and delete. Let's give this a try. Sorry? We put dot, yes. Other orders, we put dot. So, okay, I should recap. All right. So in case you didn't get me or you lost me at any point in time, I'm going to do it again. So first, I'm going to copy. I'm going to paste. So I'm going to copy and paste. Please, if you have a question, just drop it in the chat box and I'll respond appropriately. So after I pasted, I highlighted from D5 to D9. I clicked on text to column. You find text to column under your data tab. So under data tab, look for text to column. Then you click on next. And then you come here and click on others. Under others, you put your dot. So ensure you tick others. Then you put your full stop at the delimiter. Then I'll click on next and finish. So it's going to ask you, there's already data here. Do you want to replace? Okay. Did it work? Are we good? And I said you can also repeat the same thing for the last name. Highlight it. Text to column. Next. This time our delimiter will be at. And then finish. Okay. And then you can delete this. Is this fine? Julia, hope that's fine. Did you get that? Yes, your hand is up. I don't know if it's a mistake. Your hand has been up since. But I want to drop it down. If you have a question, you can actually just type it in the chat box. Yeah. Yes. All right. Thank you, Julia. All right. So can we move on? Should we move on?
Yeah.
Please, how do you put art? Huh? I'm asking you. I'm not asking him. Eh? It's true that they keep showing.
What are you seeing as number two? You can see the same.
See, I know what it shows me.
Is that a portion at the top?
Hmm?
You column at the top.
Hmm.
They go to where to do they do control column, go to control. See that go to where I column is. Column is. Yeah, press it. Have you?
No.
Control. What do you mean?
Alright. It is showing me mail. It's mail is showing.
Can we move
Email.
on? Okay.
It's email. It's showing.
Wait, what are you trying to do?
I want to write this thing
I have a question.
and do this thing. Why you clean everything now?
So we're moving on to.
I have a question. A question.
Okay.
Wait for me bones now.
Are they okay? Can we move on? All right. So now let's quickly look at transpose.
For me.
So transpose is basically used to convert or move from
He has moved on.
columns to. You can convert from columns to rows or from rows to column. That's what transpose does. So when you have your data set in a column, you can easily convert from columns to row or row to column. So let me show you how that is done. So can we see this data set in a row?
You're looking for this art. I
So
just
now
thank
if
God
you
that
want
I
to
don't go
convert
together. I
this
will have to go back.
to a column, we can
You
easily do
don't tell
that.
the old enter three.
That
Don't
way
they give
we
me one?
convert it
And the
from
light say you give me I send that three you buy.
column. Is that fine? So now to do that, basically you select.
What is that? What's up?
You need to select your data set.
It's ready for me to finish to go start work.
Oh,
Please,
someone has
You
a
don't
question.
think
down.
that
Please, mute your
Please,
mic,
help
I'm
me
a
please.
drop
fish.
that in the chat because I can't hear
Mute the
you.
mic now.
Let's drop it in the chat. I'm actually checking the chat. I'm actually waiting for your question. So if your mic is not muted, please kindly mute your mic. And if you have a question, please drop it in the chat and then I'll read it out and respond to it. Okay, so let's move on while we're waiting for the question. So now the first is you copy it. So first I selected my data set I want to transpose. So after copying it, can we see this? So hope we still remember how to copy. The Control C is for copying. So now where I want to change it, so now I click on J5, I right click, and look under my paste options, I'll go to where I have transpose. Can we see it? That's the fourth one under paste. So for those using a different type of spreadsheet, you might see it under paste specials. You can check paste specials, Other paste specials, you see transpose. Where is it? You can see it here. Have you seen it? Sorry? Do you understand it? Okay, let me come again. So what we're trying to do is this. If you notice our data set, the header is the column. You have items, amount, and then we have the information to the right. So it's arranged across the rows. But let's say we want it to be arranged the column. So we want items and we want amount. So in column J, we want items. In column K, we want amount. So which we want to convert it from rows to column. That's what transpose helps you to do. So what you first do is you copy it, the data set, Control C. Then I go to J5 where I want it to appear, where I want to convert it to the column. I right click and then I go to paste specials. Under paste specials, you see the different paste options. There are different paste options. Or you go to paste specials and then you look for transpose. So the transpose is the one with the paste, so it's with the paste option and then it has like two arrows. So this is the transpose. And then you click on it.
So please, can you repeat how to get the transpose again?
Okay, so I think the question is now here.
I dropped my question. You are not replying. No.
I'm still looking for the question. Please, if you have a question, please kindly drop it in the chat box. In case you're speaking, I cannot hear you. If you are speaking, I can't hear. So just paste it in the chat box and then I'll respond. Start transpose again. Okay, so the names from the emails still appear as emails, like they are still underlined and colored. Okay, so if I understand you clearly, so which means it's appearing as not even hyperlink. So I'm not certain what you're saying, what you're referring to. But once you split it, let me just quickly go through. Once you split it, as long as it doesn't have at, then it shouldn't be appearing as an hyperlink. If it's appearing as an hyperlink, then what you might just want to do, you can just format it. And then usually if you can see a link, you can always, let me just randomly put a email address. Let's see, www. So I guess it's appearing like this. This is what you mean, right?
Yes, it's appearing as link.
So if this is what you mean, so when you separate it, let's separate this now. Next. Finish. So if this is what is happening, all you just need to do is to remove hyperlink. And if that is actually your question, all you just need to do is to remove the hyperlink. So just right click and then so you should give it the option of remove. If you're not seeing the option of remove, you can just format it. If it's just showing blue and an underline, yeah, you can still just format it. That is if it's not an hyperlink, you can just format it. So you can just format it by changing the different format options. But if it's an hyperlink, you right click and then you see an option for remove hyperlink. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. That's the one.
All right.
Which of the mango?
Okay, so let's move on to the transpose. So I'll quickly go through the transpose one more time. Are we listening? So I'll quickly touch the transpose again one more time. And then, but this time I'm going to be converting it. It's the same process. So that this time I'm going to be converting it from column back to rows. Let's see how that happens. So I'm going to select it again. After selecting, I copy, Control C. After copying, I right click, then I will paste, I'll transpose it. So when I click on transpose, it is back to the rows. Is that fine? Is that okay? All right. So I won't really dwell on sort and filter because we did that yesterday. I'll just move on to tables. This is a more of introduction. So let's quickly just run through everything. So we can move on to more complex things. So usually, can I move on? All right. So sometimes when you are giving your data, once you start analyzing our data, we realize that oftentimes this is how our data sets are usually presented to us. Are we together? So there's some tables. Converting to a table, what it does is it helps you to simplify some. So let's go to tables here. Filter, we did that last week. That's why I jumped it. So what tables does is when you convert your data set to a table, what it helps you to do is it helps you to carry out specific functions easily. If you want to sort, you can easily sort with just by a few steps. When you convert to a table, if you want to filter, it's the same thing. If you want to carry out maybe a sum, for it makes it a lot simpler and easy to do. That's what happens when you convert to a table. So to convert to a table basically is if your data set is like this, it appears like this. Just say you can select either everything or just select any of the data in the table, and then you click on Control T. Control T. So once you click on Control T, ensure that my table has header. So kindly tick it and ensure it is ticked. After that, you click on OK. Is that fine? No problem. So now, so this is the data set. Are we together here? So now what I did was I clicked on any of the cell in the table, one house. Are we there? So you can insert, okay. So you go to insert and you can click on table, or you use Control T. Control T is the shortcut, or you go to insert, under insert, you see tables. Just click on table, then ensure this is ticked, which is my table has headers. Ensure you have it ticked, and then you click on OK. And we've converted to a table. Thank you. And we've converted to a table. Is that fine? Is that fine? Did you get it? It's not in a table. It's in a tabular format now. So now what makes this different from how it was before, previously? So you can easily sort. Remember this our small drop down option. So if you click on it, we can easily sort from A to Z. Do you see what I just did? So I said you can easily sort by department alphabetically from A to Z. And we can see everything is rearranged. We can easily filter. If we want to filter by selecting, maybe we want to see only bakery. Okay. Is that fine? And then also, let's say we want to carry out certain operations. So clear. Let's say I want to find the total amount generated from October to December. I cannot do total, sorry. Total equal to, now watch how it will appear. Sum. Do you see how it appears when you're dealing with tables? This is a little different from how it was appearing before. So now see what happens after we sum. Everything, it automatically sums for everything. So after, instead of doing it one by one, by converting a table to a table, it makes it a lot simpler and easy to do. So what you do, what applies to one row applies to all the rows in the table. Hmm? So please, let's try. Let's try it again. So those online, Oppo got it. Okay. I typed total. And then equal to sum, open brackets. And then I selected E6 to G6, close brackets. Are we good? So that is basically about tables. Any question based on tables? So any questions based on tables? Can I move on? Okay, oh, recap. So now this is basically our data set. So basically, this our data set appears. If we want to convert to a table, we select any of the data in the table we already have here. This among the data set that we have here. Using Control T, we'll have this create a table. So once we have this, click on OK, and then it basically converts to a table. How you know it has been converted to a table is this new tab will appear called Designs. I'm seeing your who's asking. I'm actually doing a recap. Isn't that what you asked for? So I'm doing a recap. So once you convert to a table, how you know it's a table is a design tab will appear. The design tab appears. Yeah, I know it's actually a table already. I can carry out different functions. So one of the things it helps you to do is you can easily, whatever you that applies to one row applies to almost all the rows. So let's say we want to total. Now I type total in the header, and then to now I want to add the amount from October to December equal to sum, open brackets. I select E6 to G6, and then I close my brackets. So once I click on enter, it applies to everything. And that's what I did. To convert a table is Control T. Control T. Either you use Control T or you go to Insert, and then you click on Table under Insert. You can use Control T to convert to a table, or you go click on Insert, and then you go to Table under Insert. That's how you convert to a table. Victoria, all that answers the question. Sorry? Bakery. Okay, want to filter only bakery. So to filter only bakery, you go to department under this small arrow pointing down, you click on it, and then you filter. Select only bakery and okay. I have just bakery. Is that fine? And then if you want to cancel, you can easily just clear filter from department. Is that fine? Can I move on? So those online, hope we are fine too. All right, thank you very much, Victoria. So we'll move on to drop downs. So you can actually create drop downs. Are we together? Can I move on? Oh, drop downs. Drop down. The sheet called drop down. Sorry? Ready to? No. Okay, so we need to be fast. Already to we have just 30 minutes to round up. So we're going to be looking at how to create drop downs. When creating drop downs, there's something called data validation we use in creating drop downs. Data validation. Do you know what I mean by drop downs? Okay, so have you ever filled a form and then they ask you male or female, and then you have to select male or female? Do you usually type male? So you click a drop down, and then you select male or female, right? That is what you call drop down. Or sometimes we call it, I think, is it multiple selection we call it? It's drop downs, right? Yeah, so drop downs. The reason why we call that data validation is, or the reason why we have that is, it ensures that the information that is imputed is the same across. So if it's a male, the way it's going to impute is male, and the way I'm going to input my male is actually the same. So that's what it means to be valid. So that for that data to be valid, which means every point in time, it is the same. If you allow people to type in, what will happen is we'll have situations where maybe if it's typing mail, we use only small letter. I decided to type my own mail, I'll use all capital letter. It decides to type his own mail. Maybe his first letter will be capital, the remaining one will be small letter. Maybe somebody else wants to type mail, they can put S after the mail. All those minor errors are the things that makes a data invalid. So the reason why they usually do it, you structure it in a way that you allow them, or you allow the people inputting the information to select it so that the data is actually valid. So when you're analyzing the data, it is the same thing across board, and we don't have those minor issues. Is that fine? So that's where we talk about data validation. So we'll be creating a drop down using data validation. Sorry, I think I'm talking too fast. So now we have, looking at the table here, we have something called food.
Now?
So looking at the table here, we have something called food. Can we see the food? Yes. Can we see department? So now what we want to do is, so we have different type of food. So apples will fall under what department here?
I'm following it online. That's it.
Okay, let's say produce here because it's not meat, right? And it's not bakery. What of beef? Bananas, lemons, broccoli. Exactly. So what we want to do now, we want to create a drop down so that we can select the department for the different food items. You can either select produce, meat, or bakery. Is that fine? So yes. So the first thing I'll do is one, I'll ensure I have my information, which is different department, open down. Is that okay? Yes. Then the next thing I'll do is I'll select D32, where I want to create my drop down. So where I want my drop down to be appeared, to be created, that's what I'm going to click. So I'm going to click D2, D32. Then I'll go to data. Are we good? Can I go on? All right. So on that data, I'll click on data validation. Can you see data validation? Can you see data validation? You can't find it. Under your data tab. Under your data tab, you'll check data validation. It's not far from where you saw your text to column. So under data validation, click data validation. Click on data validation. So have you seen this table? Okay, so the first is allow. So now we're going to be allowing list. Let's change it to list. Have you changed it to list? The next is source. So now we're going to click on source and select our department, produce, meat, and bakery under source. We're selecting produce, meat, and bakery under source. So click on source. So once you click on source, then go back to the sheet and select. So we're selecting F32 to F34. I'm still there. If you have any questions, just ask me. I've not left here. To those online, are we following? Hope it's clear. Hope no one is confused. Yeah, me see. Please, sorry, what's the question? If you're not following, do you want me to start again? Should I start the data validation again? Or if there's a point you didn't get, let me know. Or is it the source? Just point out where you missed it. Okay, so in case you're not following, I want to start again. Is that fine? So I'm starting again. So the first thing I did was I clicked on D32. This is where we want to create our drop down. So after clicking D32, I went to data. Under the data tab, I went to data validation. Under data validation, I clicked on data validation. Are we watching? Can I move on? So remember data, go to data validation, then click on data validation. Then under validation criteria, the first one is allow. So I'm going to allow list. Is that fine? What are we allowing? We're allowing list. The next is source. Under your source, we're going to select our drop down, which is produce, meat, and bakery. Is that okay? So after selecting that, then you click on OK. Remember, I didn't click on department, only produce, meat, and bakery. Then I click on OK. And once I click on OK, you can see we have our drop down. Can we see it? Did it work? Did it work? It's working. Awesome. Okay, so I think for today we'll actually end our data validation. So I'll just show us different ways we can use data validation. So we'll dwell on this for a while so we can understand how this works. Is that okay? Click on it, you see a drop. Sorry? Yeah, whenever we don't worry, when I start, I'll come with an example where you see Can I go on? With data validation, but this is drop down. So I want us to. So now let's insert a new sheet, a fresh sheet. I want us to try something. Let's be a little bit creative. Let me show you when it gets very interesting. So someone was asking me, can't you just type it produce? You already know it's produce now, right? So let me show you something interesting that you can also do with this thing. So now, do you know the local government in Abuja? Okay, so someone should help me out. So state LGA. So we have Abuja. So ahead, Kuje, Abaji, Abaji, there's 6 here. Waga, huh? Wagolada, yes, it's a local government. Buari, Amak, Kuje, which one? Kwali. Thank you very much. So they are the local government in Abuja, right? So do we know the local government is it complete? It's already 6 now. So we have Kuje, Abaji, Gwagolada, Buari. Oh, sorry, it's very tiny. Sorry. You can see now. All right. So what of Lagos? Ikorodu, that's my hometown. Alimosho, Agege, uh-uh. Apapa, Ojo, Epe, Etiosa, Ikeja. Which other one again? Alimosho is there. Don't worry, let's leave it there. All right, so she helped me out with one more city. Which state do we know? Okay, let's say Rivers. Is anyone from Rivers? Rivers. Do you know local government in Rivers? Okay, Ikwere, Eleme, okay, Eleme, Port Harcourt, Obiapo, eh? Andoni, Okri, Okirika, Okri, Okrika. Hey, Calabari, Calabari. The tribe. And let's borrow them for now. For the example. Ikwere is there, yeah. Okay, so state, local government area. So let's say we have Abuja. Abuja is supposed to be FCT. Lagos, and we have Rivers. So now, have you ever wondered, like when you're filling a form, when you mention the state, only the local government under that state appears? Have you seen something like that before? Yeah, so data validation actually allows you to do that. Now what we're doing now. So, do you now understand? So imagine having to now type your local government and all of those things. Yeah. So what we'll do now, we're going to be creating a drop down such that if it's Abuja, only the local government under Abuja will pop up. Does that make sense? If it's Lagos, only the local government under Lagos will pop up. Yeah. So what we'll do first we'll group this data and give it a name. So we'll first group this and then name it, give it a name, which is Abuja. I mentioned it, measure center. Sorry? Okay, so I highlighted everything. Okay. So what I did was I highlighted it. Yes, I highlighted from A4 to A9. And then I clicked on merge and center. If I want to put it in the middle, all I need to do is under alignment, middle alignment. If I want to align it to the left, I use my alignment to the left. If I want it to the right, but at this time I want it in the center. And I can also do the same thing for the other ones. Is that fine? And then also at the center. So is this fine? Okay, so now we're going to be creating two drop downs. One drop down for the state, another drop down for the local government. So that under the state we can select the type of state, and then under the local government, only the local government under that state will appear for us to be able to select. Is that fine? So that if I select Lagos, I can't select a local government that is not from Lagos. Is that fine? So data validation also allows us to do that. So first we'll create the local government for, sorry, we'll create the drop down for the state. So let's have Abuja, Lagos, and Rivers. So first, where we want the drop down to appear, let's click on it. Notice I highlighted E4 to E6. Is that fine? That's where I want to create my drop down. Is that fine? Is that okay? Or better still, don't worry. Let me just take it. I don't want to get anyone confused. E4. Let's click on E4. Avoid too many questions. E4. Can I move on? Those online, are we together? So I'm explaining data validation again using a different approach. Jabi, Caro, those are not local governments. All right, so then I'll go to data, and then I'll go to data validation and data validation. Allow list. If I'm too fast, please let me know so I can slow down. Am I too fast? The under source, I'll select Abuja, Lagos, Rivers. Can I go on? Source. Yes. Can I go on? Sorry? No. Abuja, Lagos, Rivers. Under states. Where I want my, yes. I just clicked on it. I don't make sure it's the active cell. I didn't highlight. So those online, hope nobody is confused. Okay, thank you, Adora. And please, let's try and participate as much as possible so I know we're following. Can I go on? So I've selected Abuja, Lagos. Now I'm clicking on OK. We've created our drop down for the states. So now we have for the state. Is this fine? We all have this. So let's select either Abuja or Lagos. This second part may be a little bit confusing, so we need to all listen. Once I do it once, it will take another long time for me to do it again. So let's follow through so we can get it once. Are we all together? Yes. All right. So now the second step I'll be doing is I'll be grouping the local government. So first I'll highlight all the local governments. Can we see it? Yes. Remember my name box? I'll go there and then I'll name it as Abuja. I click OK. Enter. Huh? My name box. How I said follow me. I highlighted it and then I went to name box and I typed Abuja. I highlighted the local government for Abuja and I named it Abuja. Anyone confused? So I'm going to do the same thing for Lagos and Rivers. So should we try it again? So let's do the same thing for Lagos and Rivers. So I've highlighted all the local government and then I go to my name box and I type Lagos and enter. So I've grouped it and I've named it Lagos. Is that fine? Is that fine? Yes, sir. So I'm going to do the same thing again for Rivers. Those online, hope nobody is confused. So please just follow me step by step. Hope nobody is getting distracted there. Okay, let's go. So now I've highlighted from Ikwere to Calabari, and then I go to my name box and I give it Rivers and enter. Is that fine? Do we all get that part? Pretty simple, right? Yes. So now we'll now go to under our LGA, we click on F4. So just take it step by step. No, don't be in a hurry. F4. Are we there? Can I go on? Then I click on data and I go back to my data validation and data validation. But this time we're going to be allowing custom. I want to allow custom. Can I go on? And then it's going to be equal to indirect. Indirect. The way we usually put, so now indirect is actually a function. So it's going to be equal to indirect, open bracket. Then we're going to reference E4, which is our state. You can't see it. So I click on allow custom. Allow. Not before we're allowing lists, but now we're allowing custom. Custom is the last one on the drop down. Have you seen custom? So allow custom. Then under formula, you put equal to indirect, open bracket, indirect, INDIRECT. Please type indirect. Are we good? Equal to indirect. Can we move on? Can we move on? Should I move on? So equal to indirect, open brackets, and then you reference equal to indirect, open bracket, and you reference the state, which is Abuja or whichever state you have there, and close brackets. Once you do that, click on OK. Oh, sorry, not custom. Ah, no. It's not custom, sorry. It's still the drop as the list. Yes, I'm coming. So it's source, not formula. It's actually list. Sorry, guys. It's list. Yes, sorry, it's list, please. Sorry about that. It's actually list, not custom, list. So using list, yes, just put that formula equal to indirect. Sorry, those online. Apologies about that. Hope we got that. Please kindly use list, close bracket, and then enter. Sorry? Yes, source is indirect, equal to indirect. So let's do it again. Sorry about that. So now I'm doing it again. Data validation, list, under source will be equal to indirect, open bracket, E4, and then close bracket, and OK. Do you get that? So, why?
I'm thinking the cell under Abuja to drop down to place Lagos. No, like below it. Okay, that
Below as if
like next cell. Like push down, it's going to be below it. Just like we have Abuja.
Okay. So you can create another drop down now,
Start to create another one. Select.
or you just drag it. Yeah, so the same thing, if you drag it down, it applies to. So do we get that? Which part didn't you get? What did you use for this?
That was the essence of that indirect. What's the use of the indirect?
What is of the indirect? Very good question. So what it does is indirect basically allows us to select. So this is not like saying that it's not the actual word. It's going to generate, it's going to searches the database for what is the group of data.
Okay, because of your
Yeah, already groups it. Yeah. That's it. Change it, adjust, do the SCCM. What happens when you change to Nasarawa, just to the SCCM. So I referencing this as well. When you change it, it's also change to
Sir, please, can you explain the indirect aspect again so that I can understand? Thank you.
So is that fine? So this is basically data validation. This is 233. Can I quickly just touch one or two things on data validation? Or are we good for today? I should touch. All right. So also, apart from creating drop down, there are other things you can do with data validation. So you can also restrict the information that can be imputed in the cell, in a particular cell. So let's say we have a table. So those online, I hope we're actually good. So for the indirect, for those online, it's just equal to indirect. So where you're under your source, just impute equal to indirect, open brackets, then you reference the sheet that has, sorry, you reference the cell that has the state. In my own case, the cell that has the state is E4. So that's why it's equal to indirect E4. That's for, that's how you do it. Yeah, under data validation, under list. Is that fine? So please just give it a try. Yeah, or let me just quickly do it again, just one more time. So I'm going to clear. Okay. So now this is clear. Remember we created our state. So now I'm going to create for the local government. Data validation. Under allow, I select list. Under the source, equal to indirect, open brackets. Then I reference that cell, which is E4, and then I close it. The reason why we have dollar sign is because it's absolute. It's absolute referencing. I can remove the dollar, I can leave it, but I prefer to leave it there. So I click on OK, and it has been created. So I can see all the local government under Lagos. If I change it to Abuja, the only local government that will appear is Oje Abaji, the local government under Abuja. The same thing with Rivers. If I change it, the only local government that will appear under the local government is Rivers, which is like LMA or. So the reason why this is done is so that only the local government under that Lagos appears. I hope that explains it. Yeah, so just try and give it a try, or just give it a try rather. If you have any issues, how do you create the states? So let me do this for the states. I use the same process I used in creating the other. Okay, let me clear it. So for the states, I had my state written. This is the state here. So this is where I want my drop down to be created. I click on E4, data validation, list, and then under source, I select the states. Oh, that's fine. And then I click on OK. And that's how you create the states. So if it's evaluating to an error, it's one of two things. It's because you didn't group it. So remember, we need to group it. Hope you grouped it. So remember, the way we grouped it was selected Kuje to Kwali, and then I came to my name box and I called it Abuja. So you need to group it. And then also ensure that the indirect is spelled well. That is, your function name is spelled correctly. Function name should be spelled correctly. Ensure that you have your open bracket and you always start. And you started with an equal to. So just use what I used up here. Yeah. So just ensure all of those things were done. All right. So let's move on to. Let's quickly look at other data validation. Please, if you have any question, please still drop it in the chat box, even as we go on to look at other data validation. So now let's say we have okay, so let's watch this. Are we listening? So can we see this table I just quickly created? Can we see the table? So now I'm going to show us different ways that we can apply data validation. So now let's say this is a table you created, and maybe you want everyone, let's say I want everyone to input the information into this sheet. Maybe it's to take, want to take attendance. So let me ask. So this is the first name, this is the surname, this is the age and gender. You can use data validation to ensure that whatever information that is imputed here is as requested. Now, there's some mistakes, there's some things that I usually see when these forms are given out. You ask people for their first name, what they end up doing is putting first name and middle name. Have you seen that happen before? So if you want to restrict that, one way you can restrict it is by ensuring a maximum length of words that is imputed. We know that, let's say the longest, what's the longest name in this class? What's the try? The longest name, like how many characters is the longest name in this class? Chuko, let's say Chukwuebuka, Abi. So Chukwuebuka is how many? Eh? Oluwadamilare, that is how many words? Oluwadamilare. So that is just 13. So let's say the longest first name, maybe maximum is 15. 15, right? So what we can now do is we can restrict this cell and ensure that anyone that is imputing their name, this cell will only allow a maximum of 15 words. Once it's above 15 words, it won't allow any entry into that cell. Is that fine? Yes. So we can do that for the first name and then the surname. Then what of age? So age, is it a number or a letter? So sometimes you see people write, we ask them for that age, they'll write 15, they'll not put yes, YRS. Like, of course, it can't be days now, right? So it just means that it's 15. So let's say the only entry we want here is just number. We can use data validation to ensure that the only input here is just number. So people are not putting YEAR or random words. And then gender. What can we do for gender? So gender is usually, so thank you. So it can either be male or female, right? If you leave it like this, some people just put M. Other people put male. Some people put male capital or male small letter or just very, very random and it makes your data look all messy. So we can use data validation to manage the kind of entry. Sorry? 230. 3 already? Abba, it's not a 3 now. So that way let me quickly run through. This is very easy. So we're going to be using data validation for all of these things. So for first name, we said the maximum words is what? 15, right? So now data validation. So now allow, what we'll be using now is any value, no, let's not, text length. So we're using text length maximum. So data will be what? So to be greater than or equal to, where is greater? Okay, greater than, no, less than or equal to. So that would be less than or equal to. So less than or equal to what? 15. Thank you very much. So to be say that would be less than or equal to, which means the maximum is what? Maximum will be what? 15. Thank you. So we'll put 15. And that is okay. So see what will happen when we try to put a very long. So if I put Oluwaseyi, it will accept it. Can we see it? Can we see it? Because Oluwaseyi is less than 15. But let's say I put my middle name. My middle name is Abdulaziz, so that will be Abdul Aziz. You see, there's an error message. To allow me to do that. So basically, with data validation, it restricts the entry into a cell. Is that fine? So next, we can do the same thing for age. So for age, we'll be using whole numbers. So for age, whole numbers. So the younger person in this class is what? About 15. The oldest person is what? 30. Right? Or let's say 35. Sorry? Yeah, in between, yes. 18 and 30. Yes. So if I put 40, it will not allow me to enter. But if I put 20, to allow entry. And if I put years, or if I try to put words, it will not allow me. 8, whole numbers. Whole numbers, and then you put between. For age, whole number, whole number, whole number. Minimum of 18. I said the youngest person in this class is 18. The oldest person here, it might be, I don't know, let's put 35. So between 18 and 35. So then for gender, we'll do the drop down, male and female. So let's type male. It's actually not compulsory. So what I usually do most time when I type it like this, sorry. So the reason why I like to do this most times is so that if I need to correct it across all of them, all I need to go back to where I did it and just make the correction to reflect. So you cannot hide it. I'm coming. Let me just show you how to hide it. I don't need it now. I just change the font color to black, to white rather, from black to white. Yeah, and nobody will know it's there. So please, for age, you're using whole numbers in between 18 and 35. Whole numbers in between 13 and 85. 18 and 35, sorry. Whole numbers in between 18 and 35. Please, let's do that. Sorry? The same, okay. For which on the Oluwase, right? No, you just select everything. So which one? Okay, Oluwadamilare. So what I did was, no, it's the same field now. Remember our field. Yeah, that's what you use. Yeah, or what you can also do, you can highlight everything and apply your data validation. So if you highlight everything and apply your data validation, it will work as well. So those online, I hope we're also making progress. Sorry? I'm trying to come back. It's still coming back. It has not gotten back. Sorry? We need a recording. Okay, no problem. Even last week. We didn't record last week. Sorry? Yeah, we recorded for today. So any questions so far? Any questions so far? Any questions so far? So for gender, we already know how to create gender. The drop down for gender. Oh, sorry, I didn't. Male, female. So for gender, just for us to create the drop down for gender, that's the way we created for the state and local governments. So is there any questions so far? Yes. Any other question? So if there's no other question, I want to say a very thank you to everyone. I hope we learned something today. Please, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out or send or chat me up, or you can also post it on the group chat. So next week we'll be looking at more functions. We'll be looking at different functions in Excel, and hopefully by upper week we'll be doing a few other things in terms of data modeling, data cleansing, and also pivot table, and then we'll be looking at chart. And then in the last week we'll be closing out with data analysis. So thank you everyone, and let's have a wonderful evening. Bye for now. Okay, so those online. Oh, that's true. I also have a class tomorrow. Sorry, I said next week. Tomorrow, please. Tomorrow, please. The class is tomorrow, virtually. It will be communicated on the group chat. So please pay attention to the group chat. The link and the dates will be communicated on the group chat. Sorry, we're having a class tomorrow. I don't know why I said next week. We'll be having a class tomorrow. The date and time will be communicated on the group chat. So please let's look out. Date, time, and the link will be communicated on the group chat. So please let's look out for it. And if you have any question before then, please post it on the group chat and I'll try and respond to the question or questions. So thank you everyone. Okay, yeah, me see. So say you didn't get the data validation. So I please send to this class. Okay.
Sir, please send to this class so that we can be able to refresh our memory. Thank you.
Okay. Let me stop recording.
It's still trying to open.